Hey, thanks for checking out my channel. If you're new, if you're coming back as a subscriber, I love you. And if you're not a subscriber, think about subscribing. I'm trying to get to 100 by the end of the year. It's a daunting task, but I think I can achieve it with your help. I'm John Stark from MacMovieguy.com, and this is my review of She-Hulk, Season 1, Episode 6. So, we are in a bottle episode, supposedly. So I don't know how to feel about that immediately. Jen directly addresses. She's like, "Is this an ill-timed wedding theme episode?" Yes, it is. Right in the middle of the season. It's like, cool. But it's one of those where we don't necessarily further the plot that much, but we also kind of further the plot. But altogether it was entertaining. I mean, She-Hulk is obviously trying to be a comedy. And if you haven't figured that out within the first couple episodes, it's, each Marvel series is trying to bring its own flavor, its own reason, its own, to set it apart so that they're not all exactly the same. And so She-Hulk is going a different route than some of the other shows have gone. The closest possibly would be Loki, but even Loki had a different kind of flavor to it. She-Hulk is directly has the character breaking the fourth wall all the time and acknowledges its own thing. When we had Jen, attorney at law, as the title card this time instead of She-Hulk, because she was going as just Jen, because to not ruin her friend's wedding or whatever, to take away attention from her. Then Mr. Eternity or Infinity, or I don't know, the guy who can't die. That's an interesting power to have. Like, why haven't we seen him before? I want to know what happened to him during the snap. Like, that's the missed opportunity we had here. I wanted somebody to ask him, what happened to you during the snap? Like, if you can't die, did you get snapped? Are you unable to be snapped? Because that would be death. Like, do you have some sort of preventative thing that keeps you from being snapped out of existence? Can you age out of death? Like, what is... It's such an interesting power set, because we've never just given immortality to Mr. Immortal, that's his name, immortality to a character before, and this dude he falls out of a window, dies, and then just gets back up and heals and walks away. And it's like, wow, he could be so useful if we can get him to be an Avenger, just like the guy who never dies. Like, anytime you ever need somebody in a situation where it's like somebody has to sacrifice their life, it's like, all right, I got this. Could you imagine if he had been the sacrifice? We could have tested the limit of his powers if he was an Avenger instead of Black Widow. If Mr. Immortal had made the sacrifice instead, and then he just pops back up and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm back." Didn't die because I can't. But yet it still worked as a sacrifice because he attempted to sacrifice himself. Maybe, I don't know. I was so intrigued by the presence of his plot and what it meant for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know it's a throwaway role, and I don't think we'll ever see him again. But I want to know more. I have to know about the snap. I have to know answers. Give me answers, because I was more interested in that than I was the wedding. The wedding was it was cute. Yeah, she got flirted with by this guy who I have a sneaking suspicion may not be what he says he is. I'd like to believe that Josh is here to be a love interest, but at the same time, she's being spied on by the people who still want to take her DNA. And then we have Titania, who just does not let shit go and shows up and wants to have a fight. And the persistence of Titania makes her kind of a quirky villain, but she's not very interesting as a villain. I have a feeling this other thing where they keep trying to steal her DNA, even though it hasn't been a strong presence this season, that's the better villain. We'll find out. Anyway, I know Daredevil's coming at some point. We keep talking about that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens and how Charlie Cox comes in and whether or not he saves the day or teams up, or if he just pops in and is like, hey, I'm Daredevil, and then leaves. But yeah, that's it. It was fine. I'm not mad at it. It was cute. But for a bottle episode, there were some questions I still wanted to have answered that didn't get answered. And possibly maybe they'll get answered in the other episode. Like, is Josh actually interested in her, or is he a plant? You know, now we know that there's this organization, this website where people are posting death threats to She-Hulk. And you I want to wonder, do other superheroes have this? You know, like, is there one for Hawkeye? Is there one for, Falcon? Do they all have these hate websites against them? Very, very strange. Anyway, that's that. I do want to make a special shout out, and this is just kind of a random thing because I also happen to watch it today. It has no relation to She-Hulk, but it is a Marvel thing, and I do want to make a shout out to the Marvel joke in Home Economics. If there are any She-Hulk fans that also watch the sitcom Home Economics, they make a rather clever Topher Grace joke, and if you get where I'm going with that, I got it, and it was nice. So thank you, Marvel, for making that happen, to put him in a situation where we could allow that joke to happen. And it just kind of happened in Home Economics, his sitcom. And I was like, oh, cool. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen Home Economics yet, if you didn't bother to watch the season premiere. But there's a little gift there for you, for Marvel fans. Anyway, it's just a little line, just a little passing treat. So check that out if you're a Marvel fan. Anyway, my grade for She-Hulk this week is going to be an A-. It's fun, it's entertaining, it doesn't really further the plot. It asks more questions than it gives answers. So that would be my reason for giving it an A- instead of an A. Even though I love the show and I love the tone, and I think Tatiana Maslany is doing a great job, I'm really excited. And we'll see what happens next week. So we're living in a great world where there's a Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, like all these shows running concurrently. It's the best time to be a nerd. There's a Pokemon movie dropping on Netflix today. It's just nuts. So yeah, great time to be a nerd. And like I said, please subscribe so I can get to 100. You can visit my website, macthemovieguy.com, for more reviews. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org, and it'll let you know what else has audio description, where you can watch it. And the adna.org is like IMDb for narrators. So you can go there and check them out and help support the people who put together things that help us watch films. That's it for me today. I got to go review something else, and I will see you on the other side.